Intimacy is one of the deepest longings we carry as human beings, to be seen, known, and loved for who we truly are. Yet, for so many of us, intimacy feels elusive. We chase it, we fear it, or we find ourselves in relationships where closeness never seems to reach the level we long for. And at the heart of this struggle lies a question of identity, because without a clear sense of who we are, the search for intimacy becomes confused, distorted, or unfulfilling. And here's why. Intimacy requires vulnerability. It means showing up as ourselves, our fears, our hopes, our desires, our flaws, without hiding. But if we're not sure who we are, then what exactly are we showing? We may end up performing, playing roles, or offering only the version of ourselves that we think will be accepted. And of course, when we do that, even if the relationship looks close, we're left with a haunting sense of disconnection, because the person being loved is not the real us. Many of us learned in childhood that intimacy wasn't safe. Maybe when we expressed our needs, we were shamed. Maybe love felt conditional, given when we performed well, withdrawn when we fell short. Or maybe the people who were meant to care for us were inconsistent, leaving us with a deep fear of abandonment. Those experiences shape our identity. We may come to believe deep down, I'm not lovable as I am. And when that belief takes root, intimacy becomes risky. We crave closeness, but we also fear rejection. So we keep parts of ourselves hidden just to stay safe. And this is why identity work is so central to the search for intimacy. Until we rediscover who we really are, beneath the roles, the masks, and the old childhood beliefs, we'll struggle to offer ourselves honestly in a relationship. We'll either lose ourselves in the other person, constantly adapting to their needs, or we'll build walls so thick that nobody can get close. Either way, intimacy is blocked. The journey begins with reconnecting to our true self. And that means recognizing the inner child within us, the part that longed for unconditional love, but didn't always receive it. It means listening to the critic inside us that says, you're too much, or you're not enough, and learning to challenge that voice. And it means cultivating a new, nurturing relationship with ourselves. Because intimacy with another is only as strong as the intimacy we have with ourselves. If I cannot be honest with my own needs, feelings, and desires, how can I expect to be honest with you? Identity provides the foundation. When I know my values, I can express them clearly. When I know my needs, I can share them without shame. When I know my worth, I don't settle for half-hearted love or conditional acceptance. With that clarity, intimacy transforms. It's no longer about filling a hole inside me with somebody else's approval. It becomes about meeting as two whole people, willing to share our truth and build something authentic together. Now, intimacy doesn't mean perfection. It's not about finding someone who never triggers us. In fact, the very opposite is true. True intimacy will often bring our wounds to the surface. The closer we get, the more those old fears of rejection, abandonment, or not being enough will be activated. But here's the difference. When we are grounded in our identity, those moments don't destroy us. They become opportunities for healing. We can name our fears, own our triggers, and invite our partner into the process rather than hiding behind defense or blame. This is why intimacy is not just physical, it's emotional, it's psychological, even spiritual. It's not just about closeness of bodies, but closeness of souls. And to experience that depth, we must risk being known. That risk feels terrifying if our identity is shaky. But if we have done the work of rediscovering ourselves, then intimacy becomes less about fear and more about freedom. So the search for intimacy is at its core a search for identity. Who am I when I strip away the masks? Who am I when I stop bending myself for approval? Who am I when I allow myself to be fully seen? And am I willing to let another person see that version of me? Not the polished one, but the real one. The truth is, intimacy always begins within. We cannot receive from another what we're unwilling to give to ourselves. If I cannot hold myself with compassion, your love will never feel enough. If I cannot accept my flaws and imperfections, your acceptance will bounce off me. But when I cultivate intimacy with myself, When I know and honour who I am, then I can finally allow intimacy with others to blossom. And perhaps that is the greatest gift of all, to bring our whole authentic self into relationship, to be met there by another who is doing the same. That's intimacy, not perfection, not performance, but the meeting of two identities, strong enough to be themselves, vulnerable enough to be seen, and courageous enough to love. If you'd like help with intimacy and getting to know yourself, visit my website, book a free discovery call. Let's see what's possible.